Welcome back, creatives. This is very different than we usually are here. 17 episodes in, and we got our first set change. We're remote today. Team's a little divided up right now. Me and Jose are here. We're in South Carolina. My family goes on a yearly vacation, so when it came up this year, I offered it to the team. You'd already know that Logan's not a very vacation kind of person. The beach doesn't really vibe with him. I don't think you'll ever catch Logan in this setting currently, but originally it was going to be Steve and Jose coming down with me and my family, but Steve had to stay back, handle some things. He has a client right now he's working with. I think he debated flying down half of the week, spending half the week down here, but we'll see. But yeah, we're here. I was going to pre-record the episode before we came down. We're here this whole week. This drops today. I'm filming this today on Monday that it dropped. So this whole week, me and Jose are down here just relaxing, getting some content, recouping. We just had our official launch event for the studio. The studio is officially open. And it was open before we were using it, and we're not renting the studio out. So saying it's open is a little funny because nothing technically changes. It's just now publicly more people know about it. But we're open. We had the studio event, the launch event on Friday. And then the next morning, Saturday, we headed out, came down here. Logan and Steve are back holding the headquarters down. Logan's probably driving Steve crazy right now because Logan's used to having 3 people who can hold the camera, run the camera. Now it's all on Steve. So good luck, Steve. Shout out to you. If you're sitting in the office watching this, apologize for leaving you, but yeah, man, if you need that escape, hopefully you came down halfway through the week. But yeah, today I kind of just wanted to touch on sort of this, because we talked about never taking breaks and that kind of stuff, and you got to sacrifice everything for building something great. But me and Logan will probably clash a little bit on this, but I feel like Logan has his form of it. I feel like you need moments like this, moments to detach, whether it is a week vacation or it's just a weekend or it's literally an hour where you go for a walk. Going for a walk, the idea of the walk has become a very big thing to me. I implement it 2 or 3 times throughout the day in the long editing sessions, even if it's just 10 minutes. Take your little break outside, go for a little walk, roll up your herbs, whatever works for you, make a nice tea. But going for a walk and detaching definitely helps. Just come back to grips, listen to the sounds of nature, put your headphones in, maybe listen to some music. But you need these moments of these gaps to just let the universe kind of speak to you, I feel like. Because I'm a pro. If the wave is hard at work, if where the attention is right now is you're in a vibe, you're in the flow, you're in a flow state and you're going, ride that wave. I'm not saying to force yourself to take a break. If you're in the flow state, let it flow. If that goes on for an hour, a day, a week, let it rock. But if the flow state isn't there, don't torture yourself or beat yourself up by letting yourself take the however long hour, 2-hour day break, or don't even look at it as a break. It's if you're not in the flow state, it's a weird balance, because I am in the viewpoint of if you're not in the flow state, all right, we gotta find a origin, a point to start create a system where my life, I go into the office every day. I'm go in, whatever time it is, I go in and I put in work, do my tasks. If there aren't tasks, there's always something, whether it's film the podcast, edit the podcast, create shorts, work on a client video, music videos, rap rotations, there's always something. So do your work, and if you're not inspired, you have a bare minimum checklist to make sure you're sustaining, whether it is just I have to go in and edit today's podcast episode. That might be it if I'm not in a flow state. And you have your bare minimum stuff so you're not stagnant, so you stay in the flow, because if you're not in a flow state, you need something to help carry you through to keep it going. Don't put a halt on it. But if you're not in a flow state, if I'm working on a music video and I'm doing an edit and I'm just not feeling it, you can only force it for so long. I just listened to, it was Cole Bennett and Rick Rubin had a good conversation on Montreality talking about, and in the conversation they talked about if you're 5 hours into something and it's just not coming to you, if you're in the studio for 5 hours or you're working on this project or you're doing something and it's just not coming to you and you're 5 hours, 6 hours in, it's okay to be like, all right, call it, work on something else, or maybe you fully take a break, just detach and be like, all right, it's not coming to me, I'm going to go watch an episode of a show or go watch a movie. And I like those little detaches, especially when you have the flexibility of like, I could just put this off right now, watch a movie, and then I'll pick it up right after. But set these little breaks and set them with intention where like, I like movies because it is like, all right, nothing's coming to me. I'm going to find a movie and just watch this movie. It gives you 2 hours, 2.5 hours of just break. I'm not going to stress over the work. But then when the movie ends, you have an end point. I'm not big into shows too much because I get caught in the rabbit hole of you're watching the show and then the episode ends and you just watch the next episode and now you're eight episodes in, you're 8 hours in. The other night, Shay was at the office and he put on this show. I don't even remember the name. Supercell, I think it's called. But he put it on and a phenomenal show. 1 season, I think 9 episodes, 10 episodes. But he put it on and unlike a movie, the episode ended and I was hooked and I just watched the next episode. I had to sit there and wait until I just had to finish the show. I just sat in the office. I gave up my work. I was like, I can't even focus. I had to finish watching that season and then pick up my work, and it just there's no end. So that's why I like movies for this better, because watch the movie comes to an end, the end, boom, chapter done. Pick the project back up, try the project again, give it another 30 minutes, try. But give yourself these pockets, whether it is a 10-minute smoke break or an hour walk or call it for the day and pick it up the next day. But really, this really only does apply to things that you're passionate about, because you got to be able to pick it back up. You could easily use this tactic and then catch yourself a year later still working on one thing because you've been putting it off. The key is to do this with something you're passionate about. And being passionate about something doesn't mean every single day you're ready to give it 100%, because I'm passionate about this more than anything in my life. And there's days, weeks, where I'm just like, I'm not feeling this thing. Life catches up to you. Things go through, as you guys know. Like I talked about it on many episodes now, and I'll probably continue to talk about it and vent about it, but going through a breakup, and like life happens and things happen, and that caused me for a couple of weeks to like, quote unquote, not care about this as much as I did. But not that I don't care, but just life happens and things happen, and you got to be realistic with that. But you have your system built where you come in, you got to, at the bare minimum, do your 3 things, your 3 tasks, your whatever task to make sure the ship stays afloat, even if we're not going at full speed, even if it is just making sure there's no water in the boat today, and we'll set sail tomorrow. But you got to be passionate about the thing. You got to pursue the things you're passionate about, and that's the key. It's not about figuring out what works, because you can make anything in this world work. Yes, some things, if your thing that you're super passionate about is super niche, you might not be able to turn it into a $1 billion Amazon company, but you can make anything work. So the key is to be passionate about it, because the passion is what's going to drive you through the hard days, the boring days, the stressful things, the days where you're not in a flow state. Like this, for example, like I could have easily just been like, bro, I'm away right now. I'll just not record a podcast episode this week. It's not that deep. But I'm passionate about this, and I'm passionate about what this is going to turn into. So it's like, yeah, it's Monday. I'm already behind schedule, but I'm on vacation. But I got to set the camera up, got to figure it out. I don't have a mic. I don't have whatever. I'm using my phone as the mic. Like, just got to make it work. You're passionate about it, and everything doesn't have to be perfect. If you have this thing, and I'm passionate about the podcast, and I've been trying to make the episodes look good, and the lighting good, and the audio good, and everything, but like, I'm not gonna let, like, I don't have that right now, and I could be like, well, it's not gonna be perfect and not up to the standard as the last episode, so we'll just skip it. But I'd rather put out an episode and keep the consistency, because next week we'll be right back in the studio, right back at it. See that little pause? I didn't edit that out for a reason, because you need those sometimes. You need that. I wonder if you guys can hear the nature. Just listen. I love that. Just the silence of the nature. That's one of my favorite things, especially in this field and nowadays with the content and the internet and everything is screens, and going for a walk is nice, especially in nature, because it's just a different, it reminds you of when in the internet and the social media and everything, like the world feels like it's around you 24/7, but when you step into nature, it is a detach, and it reminds you of how little we are in this, and how not irrelevant, but like things just don't matter. Everything is what it is, and it is what it's going to be, and it just is, and that is life. And you're just here, and life's going to continue, and the world's going to continue, and there's no rush. Like somebody once told me, like, if you look at nature, like nothing in nature is ever in a rush, but everything always happens. I think Law said that if you watch the butterflies or the birds, like, they're always just doing things, and they're never in a rush or panic or have anxiety. They just do their things, and everything happens, and they go on. And as humans in a society, anxiety is a more and more a common thing. I'm seeing between not just myself, but like all my friends in life. And one thing I will say, having this thing you're working towards, whatever it is, whether it is a career or a hobby or a passion or a relationship or just something that to fixate on, helps with the anxiety a lot. I've found I don't get the same anxiety that I see other people who don't have a thing get. I've found, because it takes a lot of. I was having a conversation. I went to one of my my childhood friends, is moving to another state, and we had they had a going away party, and I was there and I was talking to somebody there, and they were asking me, like, do you ever what's the stress like? What's your stress like? And it made me realize, like, I'm always constantly stressed, but about this thing that I care so much about. The stress comes because I care so much about this thing, that other life stresses don't really affect me. Like, I was at that going away party, I was talking to other people, and a lot of the stress or the things they were talking about or problems they were currently facing in life came from like life stuff, whether it was friendships or something with their boss, or like the way I see things, like real life things. And having this overarching thing that I'm pursuing, I don't face those same stresses. When they ask me, like, well, do you ever experience stress, it made me realize, like, I'm always stressed, but because I have such a passion for this thing, and that brings so much stress, I don't stress over like the real life stuff, the quote unquote real life stuff, the friend stuff or anything like that. It doesn't affect me the same way, I find, because I see the bigger picture in all of this in life, and it almost gives me a level of peace that I'm just able to, like, when the few times I am just hanging out with people, I am able to be present, because the stress of that, it's nice to be around people that it doesn't make me think about building stuff or doing this or that or creating or content or social media. And this is kind of a random tangent. I don't really know the main point that I'm going off this, but it was an interesting observation I had that, and then they were asked, like, while at that going away party, for the most part, when I am with people out in public, it is just kind of how I am right now. I'm very just chilling, and like there'd be a time where a lot of people would go inside the house, and I was on the back patio just by myself, just sitting, just kind of observing, looking around, looking at the nature. And somebody said, like, yo, like, are you good? Like, you seem like, I feel like you're really bored. Like, the whole time you're kind of just sitting there. And it's quite the opposite. Being in this, the thing I'm pursuing consumes every moment of my day. From the moment I wake up, it's immediately wake up, get ready, go to the office, handle stuff, until the last second of when I lay down in bed, I go right to sleep and then repeat it. Having these moments that I just get to sit in silence is nice. I think that it's similar to going for the walks, where it's just like forced time of like silence and not thinking about things. And sometimes you need that to be forced, because me personally, I'm not good at putting myself in that situation. I'm not good at scheduling time. I think partially that's probably why my last relationship didn't work, because I'm not able to schedule time that I can't justify, that benefits the growth of this thing. Because any time that I have a hard time scheduling, I have a hard time just hanging out or allowing myself to have free time, because I always see anything like that as I'm hurting the future. I'm sacrificing this future thing. And I think that led to my last relationship partially not working, because I see it as I'm sacrificing this now so we can have such an amazing thing in the future. But you can't just put that on somebody else, especially in a relationship. Because you're sacrificing your time now. You never know what the future holds. And I think I was sacrificing our relationship because I saw it as I'm giving this up for the future. But a real relationship takes day in and day, like everyday work. It's a partnership. You owe that to the other person. And I don't think I was giving that. And I see that now, especially as the business starts to really work and I'm able to have free time and do this and not feel guilty coming here for a week. This is really all over the place. I hope this is resonating, because I'm kind of just stream of consciousness talking right now. But yeah, man, there's no right or wrong. There's no answer to this. It's the right or wrong is for you to decide. It's not for me to decide. It's not for somebody to tell you what is right. It's not for you to watch someone on social media tell you this is what it's got to do and you got to have some successful business. It's really just about what is success to you. What is right for you. Maybe being right for you is that relationship. And part of me fights with is that is what I want, because I know more than anything I want that. I want that relationship, and I want that family. And I don't know, I've definitely struggled with it a lot recently, because it's been more and more, you got to pick a side. I'm seeing how much to really make this what it is and what I want it to be. I'm seeing how much you have to invest into that, and then from doing that and losing this, I'm seeing how much goes into the other side too. You just gotta be honest with yourself. What's valuable to you? Picking the things that are valuable to you. Success is based on what you put value in and the things that you put value in, and it's not in a all or nothing. I feel like it's a mix of it's a complete mix based on what you find it. Let's say you have 100%, it may be 60% to your relationship and 40% to something else, or 20% to one thing, 20% to one thing, 20% to one thing. It's all about what you find valuable and what you want to fill your life with, and how much you're going to give up to each thing and for each thing. But yeah, I think it's all based on where you put your value in. And me personally, where I am in my life right now, I wasn't able to at the time, I think, figure that out. But then also now, even now realizing that, I think I could, if I'm being fully honest with myself, I don't think I could justifiably give up this thing I'm pursuing for a relationship right now as much as I want to. And I literally found my dream person, somebody who to this day, I don't think I'll ever meet somebody like, and I don't know if I'll ever, it was so perfect, and I still wasn't able to give the balance, whether it was because I was naive and I had to go through the breakup to acknowledge, see that it is something that needs to be given full time to, or just with the couple months it's been. But either way, I wasn't able to make a balance, and the true, what was true came out in that this is what's important to me, and I got to give it my all now, because I don't want to, given the next time the universe serves up, all right, what's the most important to you? I want it to be clear, or I want to not be stuck in the decision. I want it to be, I don't want to be even having given the choice. It's if the relationship comes up, it should come up naturally where it fits in, and there wasn't even a choice. Which that's what it was initially, but it shifts and people grow and things change, and got to roll with the punches and constantly assess where your value is, because you're allowed to change. You're allowed to. When I got into relationships, my value was fully on the company and building this, and along the lines it shifted to where we had to reassess, and it didn't align where I wanted to focus on one thing, they wanted to focus on a different thing, and things just don't always align, and that's all good. You're allowed to be sad, and it's allowed to suck, and just don't waste too much time being in the sadness. You're allowed to feel the sadness and keep moving forward. Rick Rubin had a good point. He brought up something, I think he said the monks go, it's something with the monks' values, where sadness is real and like loss is real and pain is real, but you don't need to suffer. Suffering is a choice almost, where you can choose to accept, and it's not easy, and it doesn't, like you saying I choose to accept this sad thing, it doesn't work like black and white where you just say it and it works. You got to constantly work for that, but you can choose to accept and not suffer. It's a day-by-day process, and it gets easier every day, but you can choose to accept, not suffer. Choosing to suffer and be sad and listen to the sad songs every day and just be in the sadness. I get it, trust me, because it feels good in a weird way when you're sad and you sit in the sadness and you really feel the emotions. At least to me, there's a certain level of like enjoyment I find in that, putting the sad songs on and really just feeling the sadness. And to a certain, I think you need to do that when dealing with something sad, to really face the emotions and really face them. Do that. Put the sad songs on when the sad things happen and really face the emotions and deal with them. Don't suppress them. Deal with them head on, so then you can accept quicker, because the more you suppress, acceptance is going to come eventually, but if you suppress the sadness and the emotions, you're just putting it off and you're choosing to suffer longer, because inevitably you will come to the accepting, but if you just put it off and put it off and put it off, you're just choosing to suffer longer and longer. And don't do that. You don't need to suffer. You really don't. That's the title of this episode. You don't need to suffer. Suffering is a choice. Something like that. Me in an hour when I'm editing in this is going to decide that. There's very minimal editing too. Probably put very few cuts, because I just got to get this one out. Like I said in the beginning, sometimes keeping your consistency and your schedule of your posts is more important than the quality. Just to keep yourself in the routine. That's my final little bit of advice for here. Set your schedule with your quality that you enjoy, but sometimes keeping the schedule is more important than the quality, just so you can keep yourself at the very minimum, just so you can keep yourself in the routine. So then on the next post, you're back to your normal scheduled program and quality and content, and you can keep it going, because this shit is a snowball, and you just have to constantly roll that snowball, even if there isn't heavy snow and you're just rolling it. Some days you're rolling the snowball to make that snowman, and there's no snow and you're losing snow as you're rolling it. But you got to keep rolling that snowball, because one day snowstorm's going to come back, you'll keep rolling it, and you'll have this giant snowball. All right, creatives, appreciate you. You're not alone. We're in this together. Creatives, stick together. I'm out. Like, comment, subscribe. Come back every Monday. Turn your notifications on, because we do sometimes randomly drop episodes. Stay creative, creatives.